Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Well, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us today. I'm Justine Stewart.
And I'm Louis Dorch. Hopefully you are enjoying your long weekend. Labor Day today. You know what? Just trying to make the best.
I'm laboring to breathe. I'm laboring to open my eyes. I think it's starting to affect all of us, and it has been. Maybe not just starting, it just has been.
Well, we've been breathing smoke in for so long now, Justine.
Yeah,
like I was saying, like
it's just unhealthy.
You can feel it in the throat, your nose, like you were saying, your eyes. I mean, you're trying to make the best of a bad situation, but like we were talking about earlier, yesterday I actually felt myself getting mad about stuff. And just like, I can't put up with this anymore.
Not happy.
Yeah, now today we have air quality alerts still in place, we have red flag warnings in place, and it's going to be hot and dry this week, Justine. I know people just don't even want to see me anymore. They just want to get me out of here, and I do not blame you one bit. Guys, we're going to try to bring in some relief here at some point, but it's going to be at least until next week that cooler temperatures are going to roll in. Air quality alert until 9 a.m. Monday, then it'll be reevaluated. Look at that, the entire state now is under this air quality alert. Here's your red flag warnings for anywhere in the red. Strong winds, low relative humidities for today. Here's your Labor Day forecast. 85 breezy, slightly cooler Missoula, 82 in Kalispell, we'll go with 84 in Hamilton, 80 degrees in Polson.
A LOLO home, a total loss after a fire overnight. Firefighters were called to the scene. This residence on Monty Lane in LOLO around 1 a.m. There were multiple explosions from ammunition during that fire. Missoula and Florence fire departments did respond to that scene. We are told everyone made it out of that home safely as far as we know. We'll have more information for you as it becomes available this morning. Almost a dozen major wildfires burning now across western Montana. Let's take a look at all the blazes threatening thousands of homes across our region. The names of these fires are becoming just all too familiar as changing conditions are spurring further growth. Activity over the weekend was remarkable. We saw already dangerously dry conditions mixed with those red flag warnings that still remains in effect. And with that, let's continue our fire watch coverage now. The LOLO Peak Fire continuing to be active in both Missoula and Ravalli counties. That fire has continued to move to the west. This prompts the Missoula County Sheriff's Office to issue new evacuation warnings for several residents. At the recommendation of the incident management team, officials did issue evacuation warnings for about 10 homes along Highway 12 between Bear Creek Road and Graves Creek Road along that Highway 12 corridor. The Ravalli County Sheriff's Office ordered the mandatory evacuations in Florence due to the LOLO Peak Fire as well. Residents west from Highway 93 from the north side of Bass Creek Road north to the intersection of Hannaford Avenue and Florence-Carlton Loop were ordered to evacuate. The evacuation warning area has been expanded to include all residents on the south side of Bass Creek Road and west of Highway 93 to South Kootenai Creek Road, including Red Tail Hawk Lane.
You're looking behind as you're shutting the door for the last time, wondering, you know, should I have packed this, and am I going to see my house again, you know, and do I want to see it again if everything around me is burnt, you know?
Evacuees are being asked to check in with the Ravalli County Search and Rescue Command in the parking lot of the Stevensville Super One if you haven't yet. Fire information booths are staffed at Farmers State Bank and the Stevensville Super One parking lots. The Rice Ridge Fire has now burned about 55,000 acres after fire managers say unexpected activity just blew that fire up, growing nearly 15,000 acres over the weekend, prompting evacuation orders and warnings in Powell County. The evacuation order affects all of Cooper's Lake area. According to the Missoula County Sheriff's Office, the warning area is everything else north of Highway 200, with the west and east boundaries being Missoula and Lewis and Clark counties. The red flag warning is of particular concern to Rice Ridge fire managers. Windy conditions headed their way threaten to spread that fire towards structures.
We do have an east wind event that is coming in the midnight hours. That's a concern for us on the fire because it can cause some growth in the east flank and the southeast side of the fire. So we have been adjusting crews to account for that.
There's a public information meeting tonight at 6 at the Mission Bible Fellowship Church in Seeley Lake. Glacier National Park officials ordered everyone to leave areas of the park due to the Sprague fire's growth. That fire spread into the Lincoln Creek drainage and it grew by nearly 1,700 acres. The current evacuation area includes the Lake McDonald Lodge area, the Sprague Creek campground, the Avalanche campground, and about 55 residents. Those are private residences at the end of Lake McDonald. All of those landowners have been notified in person by rangers who are going door to door. The fire has burned 6,800 acres so far. It is 35% contained. There were some structures lost over the weekend due to these active fire conditions. Several structures burned when the Caribou fire in Lincoln County made a 4-mile run on Saturday. That fire doubled in size, and fire managers say an unknown number of structures were destroyed. The Caribou fire is burning 21 miles northwest of Eureka. It grew by nearly 14,000 acres as of the latest estimate. A full evacuation order for the West Kootenai area remains in effect this morning. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is addressing and assessing the West Kootenai area where structures burned, and they're notifying property owners there. The incident management team continuing to work closely with Canadian fire managers with evacuation planning as the fire continues to move north and northeast. An informational meeting for both the Caribou fire and the Gibraltar Ridge fire, which is burning just east of that other fire, is going to be held tonight at 7 at the Eureka High School auditorium. The Red Cross is running a shelter at the Church of God in Eureka on 2nd Avenue behind First Interstate Bank. The Alice Creek fire about 15 miles northeast of Lincoln has forced a section of Highway 200 to close after extreme fire behavior prompted some new evacuation orders. The Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office ordered mandatory evacuations for residents on both sides of Highway 200 from mile marker 92 through mile marker 100. The Sheriff's Office closed both sides of Highway 200 between Highway 270 and 434 as the Alice Creek fire burns and continues to burn towards the highway. The road closure also remains in effect. A pre-evacuation notice has been called for the Alice Creek Basin and Tom's Gulch areas. One ranch and around 10 cabins are in threat of that fire in the area. The Alice Creek fire has burned around 11,593 acres. It is 5% contained. 16 firefighters working on the Liberty fire are safe after being caught between the main fire and spot fires. Rapid wind shifts through multiple spot fires across containment lines. Fire managers reporting 13 of the firefighters were able to escape east and out into a designated safety area where a helicopter was able to pick them up. The 3 other firefighters attempted to escape downhill towards the Liberty Creek Road where engines were parked. Those firefighters made it to the road, but they found themselves then surrounded by heavy smoke and fire. Initial reports indicated the firefighters started to deploy their fire shelters when a fortunate shift in that wind cleared the air long enough for them to see an escape route and make their way out. All 16 firefighters are safe and accounted for with no injuries. That's according to fire managers. The Liberty fire has burned just under 17,000 acres. It is 22% contained. With that, let's send that over to Lewis now this morning. He's got your forecast.
All right, thank you, Justine. Good morning, everyone. Getting a lot of pictures in from over the weekend. How about this one from Colleen? Got this dark moon, orange moon last night, trying to peek through the smoke there. So, Colleen, thank you so much for that picture. And then a beautiful picture right here of the Flathead River sent in to us yesterday. So maybe you were able to get out and try to enjoy the weekend. Some places it was really smoky at times, others not too bad. It looks like though as this ridge of high pressure builds back in, we're going to get these very smoky conditions stick with us really for the remainder of the week. Here's a look at your temperatures. Pretty mild for the most part this morning. 66 Polson, 62 Kalispell, 52 Seeley Lake, 53 in Phillipsburg. We're at 52 in Hamilton, 53 this morning waking up in Sula. So a look at the radar, not a lot happening across the country. It's pretty quiet out there. We have a few showers up here around the Great Lakes region, a few showers moving through North Dakota and Minnesota. Other than that, though, it's pretty quiet as high pressure is dominating the weather pattern. One of the main stories, though, is how hot it's been out west. So here's this excessive heat advisory for places in Oregon, California, and up into Washington. Now, San Francisco, California, on Friday, recorded a temperature of 104 degrees, the hottest temperature ever recorded there since they started keeping these data records back in the 1870s. And all this is because of this massive ridge that is building out west. This is the thing we've seen really for the past several months. That's going to continue all the way into this week. Wednesday and Thursday, it builds even more. So it's going to be summer, 90s, and even some 100-degree weather out west. It's going to feel like fall to the east when you get this dip in the jet stream. Now, it looks like it's going to start to break down as we get into later on this week and into the weekend. Saturday, the hot temperatures move off to the south, so we're going to bring 80s into the forecast on Saturday. By next week, finally, a little bit of relief in sight. Look at this. We're actually getting a dip in the jet stream. Cooler temperatures look like we're going to roll in next week. We're going to drop highs into the 60s and the 70s, it looks like, by the end of next week. However, we still got to make it through the rest of this week with temperatures in the 80s and the 90s like we've been talking about. 85 today, then 89 tomorrow. We're going to see 92 on Wednesday, 94 on Thursday, with temperatures mostly in the lower and middle 80s Friday and into the weekend.
Oh man, this week needs to fly by just to get to that dip.
I know, let's get by this week, like it's saying 80s and 90s, and then I think next week, Justine, we're going to bring in some 70s and even possibly some 60s by the end of the week. So some good news. At least we can look forward to something there.
Yes, definitely. There's a light at the end of this tunnel.
Exactly.
All right, well, thanks, Lewis. Stick around. We're back with much more. But first, here's some birthday shout-outs for you this morning.